Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
Welcome back indeed, guys. Hopefully you have been having a wonderful week. We most certainly have. We had a really exciting last weekend at Bandai Card Games Fest, so we're going to be
That was in Vegas.
covering that. And we also have some interesting stories about gaming, AI, of course, and all that great stuff. So just a reminder, by the way, I feel like I don't mention this enough on this pod. This is every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
And then you can convert that into your time zone of choice.
I read somewhere that like you're supposed to kind of start your pods by reminding people of...
for reminding people of things. I noticed that only 75% of you guys are subscribed to this channel. And if you're listening to us now, we'd really appreciate if you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
It's funny he pulled that statistic out.
I just made it up on the spot. But everyone says it, so I'm going to say it too. But more importantly, guys, put your ones up.
Yeah, ones in chat if you're in the premiere. And of course, if you're not, that's okay too. Just make sure that you leave a like and comment anyway. Okay. So Yu-Gi-Oh stuff happened this past weekend. Not so much news, but just big events.
Big events.
It was the 300th YCS. It happened in Richmond. It happened in Guadalajara. It happened in Dortmund.
And if you divide 300 by 3, that means they're all the 100th YCS.
That's a way of looking at it, yeah. We actually were not at any of these events, however.
No.
We attended Bandai Card Games Fest, like I said, and it was the sort of nationals for all the different Bandai games.
Yes, we were invited. Otherwise, we probably would have been at a Yu-Gi-Oh event.
This is true. We were invited to check out Gundam Assemble, their new tabletop game, and make some content on it. But we got to just kind of hang out, and it was fun. But first, I guess, to briefly talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, because there are a few little small things. The 300th YCS, I only remember the name of the winner of the Richmond one, which was Kamal Crooks. He won with something really interesting. It was like a Radiant Typhoon Yummy Tri-Brigade deck.
What are these piles, man?
Yeah, really wild. I mean, I know there's a little bit of synergy in there in different ways, and he made it work. Listen, I'm not even going to go into the details because I really don't know them.
That's kind of the fun part about Yu-Gi-Oh! These pile decks can just appear out of nowhere, and you can't ask a rational human being to know how to stop a Yummy Tri-Brigade Radiant Typhoon deck on first play, right?
Right.
You're like, it has very specific choke points. Like, you may or may not have the side deck for it, so it kind of makes sense that it could win the whole thing.
Yeah, it certainly seems like three strategies that have a fair bit of synergy. I know that like Radiant Typhoon has a beast monster, Tri-Brigade kind of supports the beast family, Yummies are beasts, so
is that synergy or is it just like coincidental bridges?
Yeah, I mean, who's to say? But congrats to him. It looked like it was a very big accomplishment. I know there were like 2,200 some odd players that entered the main event, so quite large. I know that they were also selling those really cool deck boxes we looked at last week. Oh,
yeah.
There were more than just the ones that we saw, too. There were like some Ojama ones as well.
Oh, okay. I don't like the Ojamas. Well, I like the Ojamas, but I wouldn't want an Ojama box.
Yeah, I hope that becomes a mainstay at more YCS events because that's from like Gatherer's Tavern, I think is the brand that does those. I thought those were really cool because it just seems like a nice like Yu-Gi-Oh! Bit of paraphernalia you can buy at YCS and kind of make your experience feel that much more.
That is one thing that I've always felt was missing at our largest events was like merchandise for like further branding. Because if you're already there, you're a Yu-Gi-Oh head. Yeah. So this is the place where that type of merchandise is more likely going to sell. And, you're in like the Yu-Gi-Oh! YCS atmosphere, and I think you're more likely to part with your hard-earned dollars for a piece of the event.
I've always said that I think that they need to have like Hypeland and all these other like licensed, high ground, with like the keys and all these little like licensed things should be on sale at the event. Like I always thought that'd be a good way for them to make money. It's all officially licensed, so you don't have to worry as much about like getting approvals. And then that way for the regular person at the YCS, they get to walk away with more memories. Another thing was that Maze of Muertos, which releases this week, you could probably go to your store and get it at the time you're listening to this. It got content creator videos that came out on Monday, I think.
Kind of late.
Later than usual. But regardless, some really cool, exciting announcements. We got to see how a lot of these chibi cards look in person. There were some that I didn't know were all getting chibis.
I didn't know that they did the Armed Dragon level 10 as well.
Yeah, level 3 and level 10. Wing Karibo got a chibi form. So I thought that was kind of neat. and just, people sort of showing off some of the things in the set. There is a little bit of controversy, though. Oh, one last one. There's Gaia the Fierce Knight and Sparkman as cheap.
No, we've seen those arts before.
I don't know if I have. Have
you? I feel like I have.
Well, either way, there was a little bit of controversy. It's kind of minor, but it might just get corrected quickly. Apparently, U.S. boxes of Maze of Muertos.
Oh, we got shafted again, didn't we?
Well, no, we didn't. EU did.
Huh?
So apparently, North America boxes, from what's been shown so far, get 4 secrets per box, and EU boxes get 2 secrets per box.
Wait.
Secret rare pulls.
That has to be an accident, right? We never get 4 secrets in a box, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, Maze of Muertos is a side set, so side sets will usually have different ratios about them.
That's true.
But yeah, typically, if the pull rates are anything like what a normal set is, you'd expect 4 ultras and 2 secrets in your average box. This is weird, though, because this is a set where there are also collector's rares in them. Like, there's collector's rare versions of certain cards in the set, though not all ultras even have collector's rare versions. So I don't know the full breakdown. This is just some stuff I saw on Twitter.
So, I mean, it sounds less like EU got shafted, and maybe somebody on the US side made a mistake.
Yeah, maybe there's like a printing error.
That's like doubling the pull rate. That's fire. That makes Maze feel like a pretty good buy.
Yeah. So
not to market for Konami, they don't pay us to do that, but I'm just saying it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, I think that maybe that means that EU prices will be a lot higher for cards, or maybe if you're an EU player, you might elect to get US versions. I don't really know that people do that, but
that sounds like something fraught with abuse. And how do you know the difference between a US and a European box by looking at it?
They did announce Battles of Legend Glorious Gallery. This is a new Battles of Legend set. It comes with more extended art cards, chibi cards, and blinged out upgrades to make your decks as glorious as can be. So here are some of the blinged out overframe cards, which, interestingly enough, these, I think, kind of overlap with some of the stuff that's in Rarity Collection 5. I'm not sure, because like Chaos Angel and Dominus Impulse and stuff.
Sorry, I saw the Dragon Master Magia, and
that looks so cool. That looks really cool.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
They say, hot on the heels of Rarity Collection 5's extended art cards, we've got 10 more in Battles of Legend, including Dragon Master Magia, Red Supernova Dragon, and Dominus Impulse. So I guess they're going to be splitting the card pool across both of them.
Makes sense.
All available in Ultra Rare and Starlight Rare versions. Oh, so you can get a Starlight. You can get Starlight over frames? Okay.
See, now I don't care for that because Starlight is such a aggressive foiling. I feel like I wouldn't be able to appreciate it, but I maybe have to see it to understand.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get these in the, just get all of this stuff in hand.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm actually scrolling through them too. I want them so bad, but
yeah.
Do you think Konami is going maybe too hard on overframes?
So what's interesting about that is you're not the first person to say that. I was reading somebody on Twitter, so maybe a card shop owner, who was talking about how they're kind of concerned that maybe Konami might do a little too much with the overframes by having them in multiple rarities. So, if what they're saying here is true, where these overframe cards can come ultra rare overframe and Starlight rare overframe, would that almost be like a little bit too much? Like, if there's 10 in the set, and I don't know exactly how big the set is. It looks like it's 146 cards. So maybe it's not such a bad thing. I'm not really sure.
Because it's just in rush duels, you typically only get like one over rush rare in a box. But here we're talking about. I mean,
it looks like you'll probably only get one per box.
Is it still one per box?
Well, we don't know the ratio of this.
Oh, I guess that's true. We don't. We have no idea. I mean, as long as like the pull rate on them isn't like crazy high, I don't mind it too much. It just feels like we haven't even gotten our first overframe cards in hand yet, and they're already like, and we have a new fleet of them coming out. It's like, we didn't actually make sure people actually like them yet. Like, I am a fan of them. I like that they're doing it. It's just maybe we're doing a little too fast.
Well, who knows? I mean, I think it's probably better to get people excited for multiple products than not. Something that I did see somebody else talk about was that Dominus Impulse is in this Battles of Legends set. And that kind of announcement is weird. Not bad, but weird, because Maze of Muertos comes out this week and it has Dominus Impulse in it. So it's kind of like they're saying, well, don't, like, there's always going to be a bit of product redundancy that's announced already. And that's not a bad thing. If you're a player, I mean, I guess it just means like 2 different opportunities to get the card. But maybe value-wise, it might make Maze of Muertos as a set feel less enticing to buy.
And that might very well be the case. To some degree, I think Konami couldn't have avoided this. We do a lot of side sets and a lot of reprinting in this game now. And we're at the point where people only want a few select cards reprinted anymore.
Yeah.
And and then they could either just reprint the card once and just let the other product just be nothing, or do you just print the choice cards twice? Because they don't like printing those cards. Like they don't like printing like highly desired reprints at like common or like super. They still make them secrets anyway. So I guess we'll just have multiple opportunities to pull these cards at high rarity.
Yeah, they also say Gallery Exhibit number 2 is more chibi cards. So we're getting a new batch. Dark Magician Girl, Tour Guide from the Underworld. Evolzar Lagia, Legendary Six Samurai Shien.
Hey, I don't see any pictures of these.
There's no pictures of them yet. It's just a blurb. Vampire Lord and Summon Skull.
Oh, it's on the pack.
Yeah, you can see some of them on the packs. That's true.
Oh.
They look good.
Oh, my boy Vampire Lord.
Yeah, they do look good. I like them. And then there's also foil upgrades, such as El Shaddai Anoyatilis, Shooting Majestic Star Dragon, Adreus, Armades, and Tyrus.
I know, is that an alt art for Anoyatilis?
Do you see? I don't.
That big, right there in the middle.
Anoyatilis. Yeah. I think that's an alt art. I think that's a different art. I don't remember though.
That's fire. And then next up that's Winda next time.
Oh, there's also Chibi El Shaddai Construct and Chibi Constellar Ptolemy M7. Looks like. So that's something cool. Yeah, dozens of brand new cards. 40 new cards for a variety of decks, from Shaddai and Tellarknight to Junk Monsters and Endymion. Deploy a new Shaddai continuous spell that lets you tribute any Shaddai fusion monsters. Rank up to a new Star Knight Xyz. Reveal Masked Hero Fountain in your hand to summon any other hero. And don't miss out on Surprise Fusion, a spell that's full of surprises. So yeah.
There's a Masked Hero here.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think it's like a V-Jump card, if I'm remembering which one that is.
I think Masked Hero. What is that? Is that... someone was talking about that. This Masked Hero Fountain?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. A Masked Hero Fountain.
Where did this card come from?
I think it's V-Jump. I don't remember. There's been so many announcements. It's like hard to keep up sometimes.
That's interesting because Maze of Muertos has new Masked Hero cards, and then
it's got the ones that are from the Tactical Tri Hero thing, and then these are V-Jumps to go along with it. Because you know how Konami does, you got to kind of like
you got to get a little bit of every product if you want to build a new strategy.
Everything, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to.
So yeah, that's a new Battles of Legends set. Then the other thing,
these card games are wrecking me. I just thought about it. I just finished buying up everything Bandai came out with, and now I'm planning on buying everything Yu-Gi-Oh's coming out with, and this is still the same year that Magic's making that Marvel set.
Yeah, you gotta really ration. Do those personal finances with our sponsor. No, I wish. Rocket Money.
No, gosh, that is delete that.
Yeah,
they did not pay us for that.
Okay. Next thing is Ultimate Tournament Pack 1. So this was what was revealed at the New York Toy Fair this past weekend.
Tournament pack.
So this is just a new tournament pack.
Oh.
OTS Pack 30 just is coming out this month, and it's going to be the last OTS pack. So every few years, they'll just change it to a new naming. I remember before OTS Pack, they were called Astral Packs. And before Astral Packs, they were Turbo Packs. That. Yeah. So this is Ultimate Tournament Pack 1. No actual details on like what's in it, if they're changing any of the rarity distributions. I was thinking, though, you can see this little tiny picture of it.
I got it pulled up, too.
I was thinking, though, that it would be neat if maybe they did like something special with them. Like, because it'll probably just be ultimate rares and like a super in each pack like it's been. But maybe there'll be like overframes in that or
what if we just, maybe the name is actually like a trick and it's not ulties, it's ghosts.
That'd be so cool. That'd actually be really cool. I would not mind.
That would be dope, honestly.
Now, here's the funny part to me. This next thing. They advertised the 2-player starter set as being compatible with Genesis. Now, I think this is a little bit amusing because
that's hilarious.
This is a product that came out 2 years ago now and is not a very good one, in my opinion. But
it's fine.
They're now trying to. It's really not. And they're trying to now sort of like reframe it as like a Genesis entryway product, even though it still has all the same problems of not having a mat and not like really. You can see my published works for more opinions. However, I thought that was just kind of an amusing thing. But it does seem like they are doubling down on Genesis, and in that way, they even have this little QR code where like people can learn more about Genesis format. So. That's something.
Like, I mean, it is technically compatible with Genesis. It did not have link monsters in it. Did we criticize it at the time for that? Yes. But now that there's a format that does not require pendulum summoning or link summoning, I guess, yeah, it's a Genesis product.
Now, here's one last thing. Sorry, did you have more to say about it?
I would just wonder if maybe we should make a video, get 2 people to play with the starter set, and then put them in a Genesis tournament and see what happens.
Nothing will change. It will be the same mess. But one other thing that got revealed, and this is intriguing to me, is Chaos Origins. So
I love the look of that set.
Yeah, so this is the new Yu-Gi-Oh set that's going to be coming after Blazing Dominion. And this one's a little bit special. You notice anything unique about Chaos Origins?
I noticed a few things unique about Chaos Origins.
Okay, tell me all about it.
So Chaos Origins, of course, prominently features our boy Yugi on a pack for the first time in over a decade. Actually, has it been
over 2 decades?
2 decades.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since Yugi's been on a pack. It almost seems like we were trying to abandon the boy. But even further than that, it doesn't just feature Yugi. It also has like that older design language of booster packs. Think like Spell Ruler, Metal Raider style booster packs.
Yeah.
And this actually seems to be like cut from that same cloth. Even the font looks the same.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, and I think that it sort of. Do you read this as, like
And my boy D
desperate nostalgia, like just trying to like reach back for the retro, the things people like, panic button,
it's like,
or do you think it's just a deliberate stylistic choice? Like maybe it's a one-time thing.
This is what a marketer would tell you to do.
Okay.
Like I think any marketer worth their salt, if they took a look at the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise and they were advising Konami, they would mock up something almost exactly like Chaos Origins. Feature the face of the franchise. Use a design language that lines up with when people were buying booster packs the most. And feature an iconic monster that is beloved by many.
Yeah. I mean, the new kind of highlight support here is that Black Magician of Chaos and Blackluster Soldier are both getting a new sort of ritual archetype. They're getting main deck forms, ritual stuff. A couple of neat things with that is that it retrains a lot of Yugi's iconic monsters, so Celtic Guardian and Summon Skull, and of course like Karibo. They're all like part of it. So that's kind of fun. Because
they're what they're called, like the of light and darkness, or
yeah. I don't know how they'll exactly translate that, but basically.
And they even will have the overframe arts for Blackluster Soldier and Magician of Black Chaos. Or in this case, Black Chaos, the Dark Chaos Magician? Is that?
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what they were going to call it.
My God.
Because, that's what they did with the Gaia the Fierce Knight and like all that stuff. Gaia the magical Knight of Dragons of Night of Dragons. And it's like, okay.
That's such
this
a
is a soft
name.
confirmation, though, that overframes will be eventually coming in core sets.
Yeah.
Because up to now, like, we haven't really known. Like, they weren't in Blazing Dominion in the OCG, but starting with Chaos Origins, it looks like they will be. So that's pretty exciting. And those are 2 overframes I think a lot of people would want to get.
Have you seen the overframes? They look so good.
They look very good.
They look so good.
Yeah, I think that this is cool to see. The last time that Yugi was on a pack was like Rise of Destiny, I want to say, in 2004 or something, 5 maybe.
I was a youngin'.
So it's been over 2 decades, and that is
Oh, that was before Katrina.
I think this will actually gather a lot of eyes at stores again, because there is a distinct divide between, like, I'm often critical of how a product looks on the shelf. I've always really been critical of like maze sets and stuff where there's so much going on, it's kind of hard to really,
you can't actually make out the details
isolate
on maze packs.
Like what's in here, what's in this pack. And they don't even really put characters on any packs anymore, Yusaku or otherwise. So I think that putting Yugi back on packs could be huge. And like also going for that old typeface, that the Chaos Origins and that really dark mystic.
It's about to bring font. The 30-year-olds out.
I mean, I think that's who they're going for with this. It's like it's Yugi, it's Black Magician of Chaos, it's Chaos Origins. Like it feels like a return to form. So I don't know. I thought that was like a really exciting little development. Any other thoughts on it? I mean, like I noticed hieroglyphics in the background too. And purple.
It's just the pack screams like a real marketer got into their bag and just got them going. I think it points them in the right direction. I do wonder if this might cause a bit of a schism in the community.
How do you mean?
Because this design language works great for old fogies like us, but we're kind of not the like current like attributes of a Yu-Gi-Oh player, right?
Yeah.
Like the people who are playing the most Yu-Gi-Oh right now, they trend younger. Many of them weren't around in 2004.
Yeah, this nostalgia won't speak to them, you think?
Yeah, like
I mean, I think as long as this set still has the usual good meta cards and modern design philosophies and the next like lore archetype, you know what I mean? As long as it has those things, which I'm assuming it will, I think they can just take or leave the cover of it because you don't think
aesthetically they might have an issue, since if this set leans harder into nostalgia than even this, we can expect uglier looking monsters, monsters.
Yeah, like the monsters that kind of harken back to
like if that's where we're headed with this set, I wonder if people might find that off-putting because that's not their Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't think enough people even look the art to care. Like, I mean, like, I'll be honest, I don't think that the people, it's funny, whenever I hear like deck profiles and stuff of Yummy or some other like modern archetype, most people like refer to monsters as, and then you search the level 3. Right? Like,
Yeah, at least count the stars.
People will just say, oh yeah, you search that one. Like, people don't seem like heavily attuned to the art or the names of the monsters.
That's a shame.
So I don't really see it as a huge thing, but I mean, I think that the marketing shift, there's always people who are like a little annoyed with DM pandering, but
this set's about to DM
all things considered
like
and the position that Yu-Gi-Oh's in, I think that they kind of don't have much choice. Like, there's not a new anime, so like, go back to Yugi. Maybe we'll see Yugi on all of these packs, or maybe it'll just be like Yugi on one, then Jaden, and then something like that. I don't know.
Did you notice that Yugi's monsters seem to be combinations of his monsters?
I didn't.
So Mystical Celtic Sage is like, it's the Celtic Guardian, but also Mystical Elf.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's true, and I think that's partly because they actually used a combo attack in the anime. Even his stats, I think, represent that, because in the anime, like Mystical Elf had been making a prayer for a few turns on the field, and then she used it to power. I'm not kidding. That happened in a duel. I promise it did. And like, so I think that's sort of supposed to be a reference.
Karibo seems to be.
It's that old red dragon monster. I forget the name of it.
I'm going to a trivia page because I can't remember the name of it. Griffore. Or Griffor. Did Yugi play that? Oh,
he sets it in defense position and it gets destroyed. Like it doesn't. It doesn't. Nothing happens with it. But yeah, I remember that.
Like, see this could be fun. The only downside to me is it feels like the sarcophagus of light strategy. Might as well go ahead and mothball that. We have a new Yugi deck now.
I do like that they did magical hats too, by the way. That was really cool.
Yeah, that is a cool
But
one.
I think that what this is supposed to be is this more so represents Yami's dark side, Blackluster Soldier, Black Magician of Chaos, Whereas Shining Sarcophagus was more like, it was Yugi's deck he used against him. So
Yeah, and it looks like you're going to get, if you try to play these two against each other, you are going to get smoked.
Probably so. I mean, this archetype looks like it does a bit more, and it's also going to be like 2 years newer, so power creep. But it might be a decent matchup. Well, you never know.
It's not. Boy, that fire about to walk the earth forever.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bandai Card Games Fest.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
This is what we were at this past weekend instead of the YCS. And how'd you feel about it? You're more of the Bandai player.
For context, if you don't know, I play Digimon and I play Gundam. Those are my two Bandai games of choice. Though I do have Union Arena cards, I don't actually play the game. But in Vegas this past weekend, pretty much everybody played their games. It was a national tournaments for each Bandai card game, and it was actually the first Nats for the Gundam card game.
So Bandai Card Games Fest is effectively what you would consider a Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals or YCS, but it's a little different because Bandai manages so many games. So unlike a YCS, where it's kind of just one game, they do have to juggle 4 different games. And so that means that like if you've qualified for it, you could be playing in One Piece, you could be playing in Digimon, you could be playing in Union Arena. And so it's a little bit different in that regard. And they also tend to kind of have like booths and demo areas and things for the IPs in general. So like Digimon had a booth that's just advertising the new Digimon Time Stranger game,
the new anime Beat
and the new
Break.
anime Beat Break, and also like that new upcoming mobile game,
Digimon Elysian.
Digimon Elysian. So it's a little bit more than a YCS in that regard, but it's set up about the same way. Like there's side events, there's a retail shop, which is something that Yu-Gi-Oh! Events don't have. We'll talk probably more about that in a sec. And there's like a player lounge and things like that. So we weren't playing, of course, but
no, we were there to record Gundam Assemble, the new kind of, you could call it a companion to the Gundam TCG, though you don't actually have to play either one of them to play one of them.
Yeah, it's a tabletop game.
Yeah, it's a tabletop game. Think Warhammer, but on a smaller scale. It was actually really interesting playing because I never actually played a tabletop game before. Larry got me to buy into Star Wars Legion, and then we just kind of never played. So
yeah, a lot of people do that.
That's the breaks on that. But I did actually finally get to try out tabletop with Gundam Assemble, and it looked terrifying at first.
Yeah, they always look intimidating, those tabletop games.
It's weird because we're card gamers, and so we've been around like tabletop gamers for years, and we manipulate things on a table all the time. But when you look at those like Warhammer style games, like what are y'all doing? There's dice, there's tokens. There's
this one seemed like it at a glance is equally terrifying, but it actually does seem a little bit more accessible from the demo that you were doing that I was like watching. It seemed like it's fewer moving parts, maybe. Like I can't compare it to Warhammer because I haven't played Warhammer, so.
Like the game did seem a bit simpler. We didn't have to break out any tape measures or laser pointers because that's how nitty gritty those games get. The system of the game was fairly simple. You played on this kind of hexagonal playing field, and you could just move a number of spaces in a direction. And like because these are mobile suits and this is the Gundam universe, you could also kind of like hover and like fly up. And so you had dynamic terrain that really complicated your strategic play.
Yeah. You can also paint your pieces, which is something that's really neat.
They had a paint booth actually like right behind the demo area where you could kind of paint your own Zaku, which I thought that was really cool because you really want to feel like it's your like squad of mobile suits.
And I know that painting is a really huge thing for like Warhammer and a lot of those tabletop games. Is like people will paint their pieces, and sometimes like with very expensive like paint and materials and stuff. So it
was interesting going to that area. We met a lot of like tabletop people.
Yeah, shout out! I met Zaku Aurelius. I hope I'm saying that wrong.
Probably Aurelius.
Probably Aurelius.
Yeah,
right?
That makes sense.
He was cool. He's I guess a channel that does a lot of like
I know he builds a lot of Gunpla
building,
models.
painting. Eric Swinson that's a Warhammer creator.
Yes.
Yeah, he streams Warhammer. They were cool to talk to. It's always neat to get to kind of brush shoulders with these like tabletop adjacent creators, because I've always been like curious, how do you film those types of content? Like, what does that content flow look like? Because we're used to doing, duels, openings, discussions, but I'm always like, man, it feels like filming tabletop seems challenging.
But maybe it's a challenge we're up for.
I'm barely up for it. I mean, you gotta, I guess it's like an overhead camera component, and like even for like if you just do Gunpla building, how do you get like good close-ups and stuff?
It can be a challenge.
Yeah.
But even if we don't make content on it, I actually just after playing the demo and painting my one Zaku, I definitely found the merit of the Gundam Assemble game, and so I will certainly be giving it a try.
I'm gonna give it a crack.
I don't know like how to do it well, because I know like you have to have like a carrying case or something, and then I don't know how you would move your board around.
For those of us in the audience, or those of you in the audience who play like Warhammer or any of these tabletop games, what is the typical mode of transportation for like
how do you
pieces?
get these things around? Because like I can buy things, but then I don't really know.
I've always been curious about that myself, because I know some people would like. I almost thought like they left them at the card shop.
As in some shops, I know for a fact they do, but like you can't do that everywhere. But and for instance, the Gundam card game came out with Gundam Assemble pieces like months and months ago.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a thing where you could use those pieces in the card game if you wanted. Like you could like set them on top of your card
as a physical representation of like a token that you just played.
So it's kind of more of like a cosmetic thing, was my understanding.
Purely cosmetic, because otherwise you just use the card as the token itself. But the issue I ran into, and I think that's why I've literally never seen someone use them, is as a card gamer, I have no idea how to transport miniatures.
Yeah,
you can't put them in a deck box. You can't put them in a binder. And like if you put them in your backpack, they'll just get beat up and broken into pieces.
Yeah, there's no way you can do that. So
you
probably have to have a special suitcase like type of thing. Is probably how it must work.
And I don't know what to buy. Like, and I don't know how deep I'm gonna get into it. So I don't really want to spend a whole lot of money. So any advice you guys have, please put in the comments.
Yeah. So as for the rest of the event, something that I definitely noticed, it seemed like, the card game players, as far as I could tell, were having a good time. We weren't really in that area very much during the day. So
No.
But I mean, I saw like from the finals live streams and stuff, people seemed really engaged with it.
Though we know what they were more engaged with? The retail booth.
Yeah, retail at these Bandai card game events seems like it's a huge thing.
It's pretty much, and I hate to say it, it seems like it's more important than the actual tournaments themselves.
I think so too. I mean, I feel like a lot of people come to these events really just to buy. And buy they did, because there were always really long lines for the retail store.
People were coming out with full, large bags.
Apparently, you had to reserve your spots in line. So like people who did like, early registration or like last chance qualifiers, like they got to get in line first. And then also
there was a lottery on Premium Bandai.
Yeah, there's
for
like a
another
raffle.
Time slot.
Yeah, raffle for like an early Saturday slot. And
that was in December.
Then normal people got to line up. And so it kind of felt like, you could go to this event just to buy things. And I know that a lot of people and by buy things, I mean, there was sealed product of all the different games. There were also like premium Bandai figures and stuff, and kind of those, what would you call them? Like those packs where like it'll come with like a mat and sleeves and some other stuff.
Like an accessory set.
A little accessory set.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's very popular. There are promos too that you got oftentimes.
Promos were everywhere. But the kind of sad part of it, I wish like that fervor for the retail, for buying up all that stuff, was because we were all just very big fans of all these properties. But if you just listen to the people in line and the people who had just finished buying their things, the vast majority of them just want to go online and flip them for a profit.
Yeah, a lot of it's for scalping. And so as a result, it's harder to feel sympathetic to the cause, because you don't know who's there to actually buy because they want to and who's there to buy because it's easier to scalp. Like that's not unfortunately, I don't know that that's even something that Bandai can control very much. Like,
unless they just like completely throw open the gates of like supply and they just flood the market.
and that's the thing, they want it to feel special, I assume. But speaking of promo cards as well, I feel like promos almost, and we were talking about this when I was at the event, you'll remember, I was like, it feels like promos are like the big prizing that they give at these. Like, you get promos for coming to the event, promos for entering like side events, main events, promos at the retail store, promos for doing like a little stamp rally around the event where, you hit up each area, get a stamp in your little booklet. Once you've gotten like all 5 or 10 stamps or whatever, you can go and exchange that for promos. You got promos for doing demos. It's like, it's very...
just to be clear for the Yu-Gi-Oh players out there, because they don't know what a promo is.
We know what promos are.
No. Come on now. When's the last time Konami put out a promo card?
I mean, I'm just saying we know what they are.
Like V-Jump promos years ago.
But yeah, so go ahead, explain for us ignorant Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Promotional cards are
really
cards uniquely given away for specific events. Sometimes they're in-person events, sometimes they're tournaments. You kind of just don't know which, but
could
at
be
least
entry prizing.
In Bandai card games, a promo card is oftentimes an alt art of an existing card or a wholly unique card that you can't get anywhere else. And such, they tend to have a bit of a price on them.
Sometimes there'll be like resources, like tokens, or like a resource in Gundam. And the reason I was bringing it all up actually was because I do think that they tend to lean on promos a lot more than Yu-Gi-Oh does at their YCS events. Yeah. Like in YCS events, the prizing kind of tends to be more like mats. It airs on the side of mats. Sometimes there will be entry mats for like nats. Sometimes there will be, a lot of mats for public events. But here it seemed like getting the promos was the bigger thing. And I think of the two,
like the closest thing from Yu-Gi-Oh events might be like those token cards.
Like a token booth, you mean, or just like?
Well, sometimes they would have the you could get like a specific token art that you can't really get anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think like the promos probably resonate better with players because you can flex with like a promo token that you got from like an exclusive event or an alt art that you got from an exclusive event. Whereas I feel like mats are much. I don't know. That's just my anecdotal bit. I don't think that they resonate as well. So that's something that's gonna.
Because I think people don't collect play mats the same way they collect cards.
Yeah.
So when your like participation prize or your actual like winner prize is a play mat, it's like, well, you can only use one play mat at a time. And then if you have enough play mats for a collection, how do you actually display a collection of play mats?
Yeah, it's a little bit more involved.
It would take some effort. Not impossible, mind you, because I definitely know people who've collected play mats. It's just way easier to collect cards, and I think that's what Bandai is on. They're like, oh, we'll just give them some cards. They love this stuff. This shiny cardboard, they'll just load up on it.
Cheaper for them to print.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there are things that, just comparing the two, I do feel like I've been to a lot of YCS events, and now that I've been to 2 card game fests, any major differences you feel between like the way that the experience feels?
Oh boy, so Bandai Card Game Fest has a retail booth, right?
Right.
So they can sell like Bandai licensed merch. Yeah. That's really cool. That's awesome. You can even buy like product at MSRP, which is a big deal for Bandai because they tend to go up in price. But you know what they don't have? Vendors. So
yeah,
the number one issue that I see if you're trying to actually compete at a Bandai Card Game Fest is they don't have replacement like sleeves or anything. Or if you're missing a card, there's no one there selling any cards. So you're like, if you split a sleeve mid-round, you're just kind of out of luck.
It's always strange to me that they don't really have like vendors at these, whereas like a YCS will usually have like 6, 7, 8 vendors lined up across like one wall, and you can just easily get singles. I assume that might have something to do with, not wanting to acknowledge the secondary market, which Konami doesn't really like to do that, and yet they have vendors around, so I don't know where the lines are drawn there. So there's that. I think that's actually better on the Bandai end. On the other hand, though, it does seem like it's harder to get into these sorts of events. Like, I'm always surprised at how, with YCS events, you can just walk right in the front door. Like, day of the event, find out that this is happening in your town, and you could theoretically go and do it. At these events, though, the Bandai events, you do have to sign up for them and like register and stuff.
And I'm talking, we're talking pre-register.
Yeah, like pre-register.
You can't, like the week of, it's already booked. It's done.
And then it's even like more involved to get into just like public events, like side events or whatever.
You gotta pre-register for
like
those
you gotta
too.
like pre-register for them. Otherwise, you have to like wait in these long lines. And at YCS event, that's just not really the case. Like you can just sort of walk over to side. I mean, you can walk over and sign up for them, or they're just always constantly available online, like on the little side deck thing. So, you know, the events are what and what. I want to sit here and say like, oh, this one's better, this one's worse, but because largely they're the same thing.
They each do something that the other one doesn't, so it's hard to say which deficiency is worse. So yeah, I can't say which one's better than other, but it's kind of unique experiences. But it's something that I think you should definitely know going in, right? If you're going to a Bandai Card Game Fest, you should know, double check your sleeves, maybe bring an extra pack of sleeves. Extra. Make sure you have all the cards for your deck on you, because the chances of you like picking up a card you're missing is super, super low.
Yeah, so all in all, it was a fun event, a fun weekend. Thank you to Bandai for bringing us out. It was really cool. Hopefully I'll get to go to another. Okay, the rest of the stories are pretty much gaming related. Ooh. And I think that these are all really interesting talking points. So I'm going to start with one that I thought was kind of like, I think we've all been feeling it, but no one's really like seeing the tangible effects until recently. So this one is, young gamers in Japan may not be forming the same attachment to IPs like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest because modern development cycles are as long as their childhoods, users theorize. So this is a really interesting one. Basically, to summarize, right now, game development takes a really long time. Mm-hmm. You're a Dragon Quest fan, right?
Yeah.
And you're waiting for, what is the next one, Dragon Quest 12?
Yes.
When did Dragon Quest 11 come out?
That
like, do you know what year?
What was
that?
That
was before COVID,
COVID,
right?
Or before COVID?
2019, maybe?
That sounds
2017.
Oh, God.
It's 2017, actually. And so what a lot of people are positing is that, like, you know, when we were kids, it was easy to get into a lot of franchises because, like, a new game would come out every year.
Yep, back to back to back.
Whether, you know, like Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Mario games, and Crash Bandicoot and all this stuff, like, the dev cycles for games were like a year and a half maybe. And so as long as there was a new game coming out of your favorite IP, it was just easy to stay engaged with it. But if you think about being a kid now, if you got into Dragon Quest at age 6 or 7, and then the next game comes out when you're like 15, you're just in a different stage of life. And you haven't had
You're a different person.
You're a different person, and you haven't had the chance to form like a bond with this series or this franchise and like get intimate and familiar with the characters and the setting. Because, I mean, like, the games just take so damn long.
I mean, and that's a Square Enix problem. They've just become the kings of long development cycles. They'll announce a game, and you may not play it until you have kids.
And the thing is, Dragon Quest, according to this article, Dragon Quest XI released around 5 years after its predecessor. And, of course, Final Fantasy 16 came roughly 7 years after Final Fantasy 15. So, you know, that doesn't, they say, like, this doesn't count like remasters and remakes like, you know, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So there were like things in between for these two franchises.
Yeah,
but like, still like mainline entries being so separated. Like
it's interesting. I think when we came up, we were in a bit of a golden age of gaming where gaming had just left its kind of indie roots and was in the corporate space, and money was being thrown around like crazy. Everybody was having a party with gaming back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. But I think now we're in this like kind of
there's a couple of things
rigid corporate gaming era where the corporate overlords they're not as willing to spend money on just any old game anymore. So sometimes your favorite IP doesn't get a new game based off because someone says, it's not worth it.
Yeah, there's an expectation. Sorry.
It's one more thing. And then other times it's a technological thing where the demands of modern gaming on a PlayStation 5, on modern day graphics cards on PC, it demands a lot more of game devs. It just takes longer.
Yeah, it's really a bit of both. Like, games are going to take a long time to make and a lot of money to make. There's so much more that goes into, like, motion capture, voice acting. Like, these games are, movie-like productions in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. And also, yeah, like the PS5 and, the new Xbox and stuff, PC, the graphical standards are so high and the budgets are ballooning, and like you have to have like these huge teams to make these AAA games. And so if you're a company and you know that your game's going to take a bajillion years to make and a bajillion dollars to make, you're going to play it safe. You're not going to really be very ambitious and not try to like really break new ground in a creative way. Maybe break new ground in terms of scale, sure, but like, and I think like Square Enix they're probably infamous for it the most. Like, Final Fantasy 15 has a very storied development.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's a whole thing. But truthfully, that has, I think, since transcended them. Like, every game's like that now. Cyberpunk was rushed, and it still took like 10 years to develop. I remember they were saying like they'd been developing it since like, 2011 or something. I don't know. And they had to finally push that thing out the door, and it wasn't even like finished. Grand Theft Auto 6 is still getting like constantly delayed. There's rumors that it might get delayed again.
Oh, if it gets delayed again, we might have to put some people on the watch.
Yeah, and the thing is though, is like that's what game development looks like now. Is it takes a lot of money. There's a lot of delays, but imagine playing one game when you're in like 4th grade, and then the next entry of it is when you're graduating high school.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of finishing Bleach. Like, you're in one stage of your life when Ichigo starts fighting Aizen, and then he finishes fighting Aizen, and you're graduating college.
Yeah, and so I feel like what they're getting at here is that you can't really have a lasting impact on a child's childhood if they're only really going to play one game of it. Conversely, though, there are some games that do not suffer from this.
I don't need to read the article to know.
Which one? What comes to mind for you?
Nintendo.
Yeah, any particular one?
Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the one. Is Pokemon, despite people a lot of people like to argue like, well, Pokemon, they rush their games out too much, right? Like, we don't need a new gen every 3 years. We don't need whatever. But it's actually to Pokemon's benefit that it's getting a new mainline game like every year. Only very recently has that kind of slowed slightly. But remember as kids, I mean, like, it would be Ruby and Sapphire in like 2003, Leaf Green and Fire Red in 2004, Pokemon Emerald in 2005, and then like Diamond and Pearl in 2007. Basically, you were getting a new game almost every single year.
I don't know why you started at Ruby and Sapphire.
That's where I started playing them the most.
Okay, let's be realistic though. For the rest of us who started with Pokemon Yellow, then Red and Blue, then Gold and Silver, and then we got to Ruby and Sapphire.
Red and Blue were before Yellow. Fake fan.
I just like to mention it first because it has Pikachu on it.
Yeah, it's like Red and Blue. All those games, like, the way that they had it set up where like a game would come out and then like a remake of another gen and then like the third game of that gen, and like, you know what I mean? You were just constantly inundated with new Pokemon games playing. This is before we even get into the spinoffs, right?
It was kind of like, they rewarded you for getting invested in these little pocket monsters by giving you something every few years to make sure that
you're just always engaged.
You stayed engaged with it. And I don't know, outside of like Nintendo games, I don't know anybody who's putting out games at that clip anymore.
I think that the alternative is like a live service game like Fortnite that is an Overwatch and like Roblox and all these things. They're just always there. Mm-hmm. So literally they don't have to make a new Fortnite. If you've been playing Fortnite since 2019, 2018, whenever it came out, it feels like it's probably been a part of your childhood the whole time because there's just always new content. So in that way, it's still kind of filling the same
Fortnite's
purpose.
The new Pokemon.
Well, I mean, it is for a lot of kids. I was mentioning there are people where I think like Fortnite's their first exposure to Goku, Batman, whatever.
I think of my childhood in Fortnite seasons.
Here's the sad part, though. There was a period of time where Final Fantasy was like this. Yeah. I think the wait between, I want to say it's Final Fantasy 9 and 10 was like one came out in 2000 and one came out in 2001. I don't remember. It's some close gap like that. And so that long wait time really only started when like the PS3 generation, PS3, Xbox 360 generation, where like games were in HD and just we started to have these long waits. Would you say that's kind of their overall thesis? You feel like it's the truth? Do you think any of this could change?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the truth of it. I think that might be one of the reasons why Nintendo isn't so aggressive at pushing the abilities of new Nintendo hardware.
Yeah.
Because, one benefit of having underpowered hardware is you don't have to work as hard making new games.
Yeah. They don't take as long. I mean, I also think that like with Nintendo games, they tend to not seep so much into like the cinematic presentation of the games. Like whereas like we need to make photorealistic graphics, have, acclaimed voice actors and mocap performances, and like every cutscene needs to feel like its own little movie. It's like, well, no, what if we just kind of like give you, a sandbox to run around and have fun in?
It's like those things are cool, and they definitely made their mark in the gaming industry. But that's what Nintendo does, is how gaming started. It was, Pac-Man wasn't a masterpiece in terms of like the visuals and the sound design. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was made to be entertaining. It wasn't trying to compete with the movies at the time.
Very accessible, very replayable.
And
things for sure.
It feels like, at least in other places like Sony and Microsoft, I
think things have shifted for those companies. I think that there was a time
they're trying to create these like experiences.
Yeah, and there was a time, I think, I can't speak to Microsoft as much. I mean, I know they have like things like Halo and like Mass Effect, and Mass Effect was multi-platform, but like Halo, Gears of War, those kind of were trying to make frequent games, and but when I think of like Sony in the early 2000s, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, like Ratchet and Clank. I know those are kind of mostly like platformer adjacent games, but like those were not just games that came out frequently and had like a lot of sequels, but also they were accessible games. They were games with characters that kind of became their mascots for that period of time. And I don't know that... Oh, sorry, you had a point?
I just think of that era and that style as entertaining blobs of colors and shapes.
Yeah.
That's what that era of gaming screams to me, where that was the idea. Let's make something colorful and friendly that people will enjoy playing as.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to compete with, what's a movie of the times? RoboCop. Wait, that's even older. Wait.
No, I mean, I know it doesn't have to feel like it's like trying to be a blockbuster. Because, I mean, I think that started when they started with like Uncharted. The Uncharted games. Which, by the way, I love the Uncharted games. They're fun. I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying that, like... Yeah, that's right. And then, I played like 1 and 2, and I remember watching like a friend play 3. It's just that that's kind of when they wanted maybe these games to present as more realistic and more, kind of a believable live action type of story. But who would you say are like the Sony mascots today, whether you're a kid or a teen or anyone?
Sony mascots of today.
Of today, like in 2026.
So I think they drug Kratos up out the grave.
Yeah,
and they've reestablished him as a face of Sony again.
Yeah, he's kind of persisted. Arguably, I mean, like I know that Alloy from the Horizon games, they're trying to kind of push her as something of a PlayStation mascot.
I thought we were done with that. Are they still doing that?
They just got a new multiplayer game announced.
Oh, okay.
I don't know much about it.
I guess
but the reason I say that, though, is because like I feel like she hasn't landed very well with people. Like I haven't played the Horizon games, but when I think of Sony, I just visually, it's just the Horizon series doesn't come to mind. Like there's the Ghosts of games; those are Sony exclusives. Yeah. There's like 2 of them, but like I don't know who the main character of that is.
Oh, because you gotta play it and then you'll know.
Yeah, and it's just weird that cultural osmosis hasn't told me yet. Like, you know what I mean though? Like, because I haven't actually played a God of War game, but I know a lot about Kratos just because like he's Kratos, he's violent. There's like sex mini games in the old God of War games on PS2. Like it's just things that you hear about it and you just know. But like now I don't know that they have many mascot characters. I remember when they were doing Little Big Planet and it was Sackboy and they kind of dropped him.
Yeah, I'm so curious why they got rid of Sackboy.
And I thought Sackboy was cute.
That's
and now
weird.
it's like the robot, I guess, from Astrobot. Is that what the...
Yeah, Astrobot.
So like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Nintendo has managed to keep all of its iconic mascots, whereas Sony, like, not so much. And then Microsoft, God forbid, they lost Halo. They're still making Gears
killed
games?
Halo. A game that Halo was such a gamer's game.
Yeah.
How do you mess that up?
Forza car. Like that's the mascot of Microsoft. The Forza car. I guess I'm kind of getting off subject here, but yeah, like I think that we can see why a lot of these games aren't maybe sticking, like, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. They've seen slumping sales. And when you even look at what they've been doing with their new games, they kind of seem just targeted at like us, people our age and older.
That's because we have money and children don't.
The thing is, though, we would always have money, and the idea would just be that like your parents were buying you those games back then.
Right. But we don't have kids.
I guess maybe that's what it is. They just aim for the single, childless cat ladies and bachelors and
They'll
stuff.
put more time into the game.
Because like I look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like the remake series or whatever, and like that's kind of just targeted at like us, right? Like kind of this crowd. Same with all these Dragon Quest remakes they've been doing.
Yeah, because a kid doesn't know. They don't have a relationship with Dragon Quest, so why would they be interested in a remake?
Yeah. Just thought it was an interesting thing. I want to hear what other people have to say about it. Like, do you feel that would you rather have a smaller scale game? It's for you. Would you rather have a small scale Dragon Quest game, but the dev cycles are like 2 years? Or are you okay with like waiting for what's basically, I think, like 8 or 9 years now for Dragon Quest 12, but like it's going to be an amazing thing? Like, what would you prefer?
If small scale is like just maybe the same size as like a modern Pokemon game, yeah, I'll take that. I don't need my games to look like crazy. Like if it's a franchise I already love, I actually don't need it to do a whole lot more than it used to in the past.
Same. I was thinking the same thing. Like I want Final Fantasy 17 sooner rather than later. Like even if that means it's like I don't need it to be an 80-hour just very cinematic thing. I kind of just want to play the damn thing.
It's like I wouldn't mind if they went back to being turn-based. If that just like helps them along, go for it.
Would you be interested in leasing a game console?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Tell me like why not?
Because I own my game consoles.
Yeah. If you didn't own one already, you'd sounds like you'd rather buy your game console than rent it.
I've always owned them. I don't want to not own my game console.
Well, Sony has just introduced a way for you to lease a PS5. So this is currently only available in Europe from the company Flex. It's just one of those leasing companies that Sony has actually partnered with, and so they're officially endorsing. You could always technically probably do this from third-party means, but they're saying for a limited time only, lease your PS5 from $9.95 per month. That's like in euros, but maybe you could imagine that might be like $9-10 of US dollars if it was to be here in the United States. So with Flex, you can lease a PlayStation 5 with no upfront cost on a super flexible monthly rolling plan that you can cancel anytime. Choose a 12, 24, or 36-month term to enjoy even lower monthly payments. So I guess for 12 months, it might be like $10, but maybe for 24, it's like 8 or 9, or whatever. Upgrade to the latest PS5 console and cutting-edge accessories like the PSVR 2 with just a few clicks. They say you can sign up in 5 minutes, and at the end of your lease term, you're in control. Upgrade, keep paying monthly, or leave Flex by returning your device. They have a lot of different eligible products, like the console itself, a PlayStation Portal, and of course they said the PSVR 2. So this is a new thing, and it's got a lot of people talking. How do you feel about this as a proposition for maybe somebody who does not have the upfront $500, but they want a PS5? Is this something that you can get behind at all? Like you have a friend.
Okay. I would caution my friend in entering into a contract in order to game.
Yeah.
So like gaming has like contractual type things, like you play like a subscription based like MMO like we do with like Final Fantasy, but that's something that I can very easily just turn off the moment I don't want to play Final Fantasy anymore, and I'm literally just paying for a license to the software.
Yeah.
In this case, we're talking about a license to hardware, and I think that's adding an extra layer to your ability to get and play games, even if it sounds like it's actually decreasing the barriers. You can't afford a PS5 now, so you sign up for a subscription. All right, well, now you buy games, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess it's technically cheaper if you're just trying to get towards a particular game. But unless you're leasing the game, you're paying full price for a game that once your lease is up,
you won't
be able to play. You won't be able to play it anymore.
So, yeah, I did some of the math on this, just the kind of rough napkin math in my head, and it actually does not seem like a bad deal. I've got some caveats to that, but it doesn't seem bad. If we assume that this is basically the equivalent of about $10 a month, we'll say it's $10. So you could even say 11 or 12. Then having this PS5 for 1 year would only cost you $120.
Right.
And a PS5 is $500. So if you're renting it for a year, that's actually not bad. You got a PS5 for quite a nice price. You got to enjoy a PS5 for a year. Even if you do 36 months, and we're told that might be even cheaper, maybe that's like $8 or something. Even after 3 years at $10, that's still only $360. It's still cheaper. So until you have basically had this thing for over 4 years, going towards 5, then that would mean you're paying more than what an actual console would cost. So I think that in this one case, because game consoles tend to have such long lifespans, there's some real merit to this.
I just think it's short-sighted.
Yeah, now that's kind of layer one, is that it does seem like a pretty good value. However, I have some reservations about the idea of it seems like it costs more if you get additional accessories. So they will send you accessories, I assume. You can get a portal, you can get a VR or whatever, maybe controllers, and it sounds like that adds to your rent. So I haven't calculated that in. That would probably change a lot of things. I also think, though, that I don't love the idea of, a lot more of what we're doing today has become subscription prices. Right. I really don't like it. There are so many, streaming services, but now they kind of want you to subscribe to everything. You've probably seen the smart cars where you have to pay a monthly subscription to have heated seats. And so there are cars now, a lot of cars are, newer cars are doing
your heated seats are just turn off?
Yeah, they're disabled because it can be part of your plan, Alex.
That's like that nonsense with SiriusXM, how you get a new car and you got SiriusXM and then
and
after 2 months it just turns off forever.
And that's SiriusXM, that's a sort of a service. Heated seats are a physical
See, I don't like that.
So I don't like the idea of not owning things because so much other stuff in the world has already been slowly creeping out of our ownership, if you've noticed. Games, software, one that I pay for, Adobe Premiere, they now have a subscription service. It's been that way for the last, 10 years or so, 10, 12 years. And the price has steadily gone up every year. And the thing is, I'll never own the software. The moment that it feels too financially unviable for me to keep paying the now $60 a month that it is, if I stop, all the software is gone, can't use any of it. And so I guess I caution people about, just this sort of rental system, because it was one thing when we were renting games from GameStop for a week, not GameStop, Blockbuster for a week.
Right.
But renting your game console, I don't know. Something kind of rubs me the wrong way about it.
I keep seeing different issues that I have with this. One, you are buying into a system where essentially the longer you're within it, the more reason you have to stick with it, because you're renting a console, but you're buying software. And so the more software you buy, the more you want to keep your console. But like you said with your example of Adobe Premiere, that means that they can actually change the rates on your console. and you're more likely to stick with it because you're more bought in.
You're bought in. You're in the walled garden.
And furthermore, you're not renting software here. You're renting hardware. You know what that means? That means if that thing gets damaged or broken
you're definitely on the hook.
You're on the hook. And remember, we got into this because we can't afford a PS5. Like, so if my PS5 gets broken, that's
on
it.
you, yeah.
I already paid for it. It's done. If you're leasing a PlayStation and it gets broken,
you probably have to pay full price immediately.
They're going to want their money,
yeah,
like ASAP, and you can't afford it because that was the premise of this idea.
In a similar vein, it seems like they're saying, when your leasing terms end, you kind of have the option to keep going or upgrade or whatever. It's interesting because I guess you really would be encouraged if you've had it for 2 or 3 years to just keep renting it forever and perpetuity and just continue to pay. And like I said, after 4 years, that's no longer actually it's now you're losing money.
Right.
And so maybe that's fine. I think that this is not a bad thing. They're not forcing this onto everybody. So maybe that might be a future looking thing. But they're not forcing this onto everybody. There is another thought I had though. And this is I've been hearing a lot of chatter about this. RAM prices are going up and just, a lot of CPU components have been going up. And some companies like NVIDIA and stuff are we're not even going to be making RAM anymore. We're not going to be making GPUs anymore. And or we're only going to be doing it B2B, not consumers. And so all those prices are going up higher and higher. And I think there was an interview with Jeff Bezos, don't quote me on this, but just something along the lines of what they really ideally want is that you don't own a computer and it becomes unviable for you to build a computer. Instead, what you will do is you will simply rent it. You will rent games. You will rent software. You will rent your very own local. You won't have local compute. You will be renting a PC, or you'll buy a little screen thing that is streaming a PC maybe to your That's kind of the ideal thing, is because they can extract more money from you and you have less control over it.
Right.
So this gives me the same little icky vibes of you don't own your PlayStation. You don't own all the little digital games you're going to buy on the PlayStation, but also once you stop paying for the PlayStation, it's all gone. You just can't have any of it. And so it's I don't know. I would just rather physically own it and really physically own at least the games I want to keep. I know some games, them being digital, is fine. It depends on the game.
At some point, you have to put up because with this system, you don't own anything, but you're still spending money.
Yeah.
I don't think that's great financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and I wouldn't deign to give you financial advice. But
no, I mean
that does not track with me. At some point, you have to own something tangible. A PlayStation 5 is expensive, and not everyone can afford it. But I still think there's more merit to just gritting your teeth and saving up to be able to buy one.
Dare I say, and I, again, not financial advice, I would sooner do Klarna. You know what I mean? Well, no, because think about it, right? With Klarna, they're gonna have these little pay it in however many,
right? 4 installments.
But I mean, at least you bought the thing.
I do to some degree. I do agree with that.
Obviously, I'm not. You've heard my thoughts on Klarna on this podcast, but
if we're specifically making a decision between renting a PlayStation 5 versus using one of those paying for type services, I'd prefer a paying for. For the fact that, you have the piece of hardware, it is under your ownership. That only comes into question if you don't pay Klarna. If you don't pay Klarna, you might have an issue with that. But if something happens to your PlayStation, you will not incur extra costs. It'll be just what you agreed to. With these with a leased PlayStation,
you'll never own the thing, because for me that's the big deciding factor. Is Klarna has its own sketchy kind of things to be aware of, but that PS5 will be yours. Yeah. It will be. So
because this isn't a lease to own type situation with a car or something. No, this is just...
there's no you pay it off and it's leasing forever.
Expect it returned when your time is up, and
Yeah.
I just don't care for a system like that.
Well, speaking of game prices, Nintendo can't seem to decide if it's going to raise the price of the Switch 2. And more importantly, it seems like now they just can't decide like when they're going to. So this is an interesting article because last week, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa told shareholders that the price of Mario had no current plans to the House of Mario had no current plans to raise the price of its $449 Switch 2. This week, it sounds like Nintendo isn't just considering a price increase, it is reportedly weighing when it will enact one. So there's a RAM crisis. We just talked about this. Yeah. OpenAI alone has already secured 40% of the world's future semiconductor supply, which has ramifications for companies like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. In early February, they assured investors that these supply issues did not meaningfully affect the company's profitability last year, but he also did not expect much to change in the latest financial quarter. However, they seem to be claiming now that future price volatility might prompt Nintendo to revisit its pricing strategy. And so a report by Bloomberg claims that Nintendo is, quote, contemplating raising the price of the device in 2026. Currently, Switch 2, $450, but now they're trying to see, if and when they might raise that price.
Right.
Thoughts? Nintendo really probably does not want to do this.
Like, how did OpenAI, how were they allowed to buy up 40% of our future semiconductors? That's just silly. That's
I'm going to talk about OpenAI.
Poor regulation. Someone should have done something about that. But anyway, if we just focus strictly on the gaming industry and what this means for it, it just sounds like, we'll slowly just get priced out of gaming. Because here's the issue, right? Nintendo is a corporation.
Yeah.
So like Sony, like Microsoft. Corporations, they can't just make a static amount of money every year. They're expected to increase their profits every year.
Yeah, capitalism demands infinite growth.
But now their costs to just build the things they're already building, those costs are increasing.
Yeah.
But they actually have to make more profits than they did last year.
Yeah,
so that
the
means
expectation.
The price of the good, in this case, the Switch 2, has to increase a fairly large margin year over year if you're going to keep with your promise of increasing profits every year. And I don't know if your jobs are different from mine. Do we see like consistent year over year increases in pay?
Yeah, I think something also interesting
I get like
about
an extra 10 cents every year.
I think something that's kind of interesting about this is that, Nintendo is a company that they're always kind of seen as the more affordable console. Mm-hmm. They're the one that, it's like the family-friendly one. Sony and Microsoft already having to do these kind of unprecedented raising console price things isn't, that's not a pretty look. But Nintendo raising a Switch 2 price when the Switch 2 already got a little bit of side-eyeing as being quite expensive at launch. If it goes up to $500, it's rough. Like, I don't know. It doesn't look good. And this headline is focused on Nintendo, but I think it applies to all of them because we've seen Sony and Microsoft have to do it. I saw a headline about Sony. They're considering pushing back the PS6 release. Like, there's internally stuff like they've been talking about, but like, maybe they wanted the PS6 to release in like 2028 or something. But now it kind of seems like, well, maybe can we wait out this, computer part shortage that's been going on?
How do you wait
but
out?
We don't, yeah. And I don't know that you like wait it out. I don't know that it ever gets better.
At this point, it's one of those geopolitical games, and well, it's been happening for the last like decade. So why would it just stop suddenly?
Yeah, and even this Steam machine, it was supposed to actually be getting released this quarter. Like, they were going for early 2026, and they have since they made a statement that they're like, well, we're having to revisit pricing and release dates because of RAM prices and stuff like that. So it seems like the AI thing is really consuming a lot of computer resources, and it's affecting a lot of other consumer products.
So guys, next time you're using Grok to like take the clothes off of some model you like, just remember you're making gaming more expensive.
Yeah, it sucks. I hope that they don't have to increase the price, but it seems like they likely will. Here is another really fun one that's gaming related as well. So you might remember last week we talked about 2XKO and how it had to shrink its team size because of many reasons. It wasn't able to get the performance numbers that it wanted. Well, Highguard had a similar issue. When we finished talking about 2XKO, I actually remember seeing the headline while we were talking, and I mentioned it briefly. But a former Wildlight developer shared their thoughts on Highguard's release after its announcement at the Game Awards. And what happened recently to Highguard is they also let go of a lot of their team.
Right.
So, yesterday it was announced, yesterday isn't a few days ago now, that multiple Wildlight developers have been laid off, only a matter of weeks since Highguard made its free-to-play debut. But according to Highguard's former lead technical artist Josh Sobel, the team was doomed from its announcement, and it was all downhill after the game's reveal at the Game Awards. Writing in a lengthy post on social media, he said internal feedback on Highguard prior to its reveal was quite positive, and the team felt confident that it had a hit on its hands. But the feedback was negative. Where feedback was negative, he said it was constructive and often actionable. He added that those who played the game, including us, had a blast. But that positivity left after the Game Awards trailer. You remember how this all went.
I remember.
Yeah. Content creators love to point out the bias in folks who give positive reviews after being flown out for an event, but ignore the fact that when their negative-leaning content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into a disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not.
Shots fired.
The hate started immediately. I'm not going to go through everything that he says, although I probably will quote it here and there. But he talks about, the way that negative content tends to get perpetuated a lot more than positive content.
By a huge degree.
And also that a lot of criticisms that people make of games, upcoming games and stuff, isn't actionable. It is oftentimes, it's just kind of like blind hate. This game sucks. We didn't ask for this.
It looks stupid.
It looks stupid. We didn't ask, who asked for this, And he talks about how, like what I was saying with, I think I mentioned like the Rivals of Ether director last week. He had a long post about this. Mm-hmm. When you give feedback, many people will oftentimes say like, this just sucks and make it all better or whatever. But like, you need to kind of give actionable feedback. What's constructive criticism the developers can actually take back and use. I've blabbed a long time. What do you think?
Oh man, I was one of the people when I first saw the Highguard trailer. I was underwhelmed. I was like, okay, we got another like multiplayer shooter style game. I wasn't drawn in by the visuals. I'm sure the gameplay was probably fine, but I wasn't wishing for Highguard's demise. Not like there are some games I have wished for a demise, but I honestly wasn't invested in Highguard enough to care. But I think a lot of people have found that it's monetarily wise to get invested in a game even if you don't care. And that makes it much easier to poke at its faults and to make the game look like a complete failure when you don't really care and you're just like making a post or making a video, for money. It's
bad faith. Bad faith coverage of games. I think negative hype. It's something that we've seen so much in social media. I feel like it's existed forever, but like post-COVID, I feel like everybody's kind of got this thirst to drag things down. Like, I don't know where it exactly comes from, but like wanting games to fail, kind of wishing on demise, praying on demise, and also loving to kind of look back in hindsight and say like, see, they shouldn't have done that. Like, I told you so.
I think it actually ties in. It might tie into what we talked about earlier about longer development cycles. I think, gamers right now we're a more bitter, jaded bunch because we all have like a favorite game, a favorite series that doesn't update as much as we'd like it to, and then so something brand new, a trailer comes out for it, and it's like this. Why are they making this? I want to see a new It could have been a new Star Fox game. Why are people putting resources into Highguard, not Star Fox?
Yeah, I know with Highguard people wanted like Titanfall 3, and so they were upset that this wasn't Titanfall 3.
And the thing is, it's like that's not up to the Highguard devs to say what game gets made and what game doesn't. They were working on Highguard. They got the green light, and so they went for it. It's not their fault there isn't a Titanfall 3 or a new Star Fox game or a new anything But I think we're all so bitter of our favorite game or franchise not serving
Our very specific demands.
so now we hate on anything that doesn't.
I'm going to bring up a game that I'm not even going to pretend that I was like interested in it personally, but I think got a bit of an unfair shake.
What's
It's
that?
Concord.
No, it didn't.
Now, the thing about Concord is, there are a lot of reasons why you could say it felt maybe uninspired or whatever. But here's the thing. If you're a developer, because you remember the story about Concord.
I remember it viscerally. I was invested in Concord's demise.
Yeah, looked kind of cool. Turned out it was a kind of team hero shooter. At the time, team hero shooters they were already beginning to feel saturated.
For sure.
And, people already liked Overwatch. Marvel Rivals was like announced, I think, around that time.
Liked
shortly
Overwatch
after.
to the stretch at that point.
Yeah, and so people kind of arbitrarily, dare I say, just decided we hate Concord. It wasn't just that, like, you've seen it, because, like, your story with it, right? You saw it.
It wasn't arbitrary. Concord did something that I think specifically pissed people off.
What do you think?
Concord had this whole cinematic trailer.
Mm-hmm.
We got invested in the story and the characters that were within it. And so we kind of set our appetites for a certain type of game.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this is it's so interesting, these characters. Like, I was like, ooh, it feels like the Guardians of the Galaxy. It feels like an RPG. I could really sink my teeth into this. And then and now it's a hero shooter, and it's like,
yeah, it's a bit of a letdown.
It hurt. Like that moment with Concord actually hurt.
But now here's the thing: does it deserve to burn in hell for it?
I think you want to send a message to the gaming industry at large. So if Concord comes out and Concord is vastly popular, then the people who were hurt by the rollout of Concord feel like, well, I guess it doesn't matter. They're gonna keep making they're gonna keep wasting great and interesting
ideas
on like another hero shooter. So like, yeah, at least for me, I wanted Concord to fail because I really want like these companies to see that you shouldn't, and I want to say you can't, but you shouldn't like boil down like games into a hero shooter just because you can.
Yeah, I disagree though. I mean, I understand why people didn't like Concord, but I disagree with the notion that like it needs to burn for it. Like, I think that if you don't like Highguard, Concord, there's a new game, Marathon, that people are already cheering for the demise of.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's new. I don't really know what it's about, but I've already seen that people are like, I want this to fail. It looks like it's a fake industry plant game. It's not what I want. I don't think like, I remember people like mass dislike bombed it. Then content creators started covering like why this game looks terrible and it's going to fail and they should have never made it and we didn't ask for this and it's a cheap Overwatch knockoff and all these things. And then Concord came out. We know that it did not do very well. It was shut down like within a month or two of releasing. Then the studio was shuttered and they all lost their jobs. And I'm just like, are we like proud of this? I think that it is fine for a game to just not be what people want.
Right.
I just don't like to see like an active attempt to sabotage a thing because you don't like it.
I think that's corny. The act of, because it's immature and these are people's livelihoods. I don't think, because like if a game fails, I think everybody can go their separate ways and then they'll start working on new projects. But when a game gets like review bombed and get dragged through the mud, now you're gonna make it harder for people to, because you're making the game seem like it was worse than what it was.
Yeah, and that's that's my thing is like I don't like that.
Like, I don't know if Concord was as bad as what people made it out to be. I was disappointed in it. I wanted it to fail purely on, it's not the game for me. I want the gaming industry to know that these types of games, they're not going to cut it.
Yeah, I think that that's another thing too, though, is like, it's a little bit, dare I say, I think it's a little bit like, I think people have that sentiment that like, okay, not all games should be this thing that I don't approve of. But I don't even necessarily know that it means like, I don't know, it's weird because a lot of people probably don't know if they actually would have liked Concord or not because they never like ended up playing it, and then there kind of was just a point where they could no longer even play it. And that really sucks. Because like there was probably someone out there who genuinely was interested in it, and because of the actions of like these people, they'll just never get to know if it was good or not.
I don't think you should, and I don't think you should ever be allowed to leave a review on something you haven't actually tried. So, like because talking about Concord, because that's the only game I felt strongly about. Even though I definitely did not like Concord from its inception of seeing after seeing the trailer, I didn't go to leave like a negative review about it because I'd never played it, and I wasn't going to try to sway other people's opinions on it when I didn't actually experience it myself.
Yeah, and I think the thing with like the content creation side of it is it's really easy to make negative content, and it's these content creators who do that who are like, this game's gonna fail, here's why it looks like crap, nobody asked for this, it's like a cheap cop-out, whatever, it's the same old thing. Their viewers are the ones who watch that stuff, get giddy and happy about like, yeah, let's make this game fail. And those are the ones review bombing. They don't buy the game. They just leave a negative review and they try to get the Metacritic score down. And I really hate it because it can get muddled with, like, you know, your opinion of maybe a game is that like, well, it's not what I want, and I hope they don't really keep making things like this, versus like these people who they're never going to play it. They don't actually care. They want to send a message maybe to the gaming industry at large that like, but they shouldn't make this stuff.
You don't have to actually like do anything. That's the thing.
Yeah,
in gaming,
that's what I'm saying.
All you have to do is just not play it. And the thing is, a game like Highguard and even Concord to a lesser extent, because that was one I really didn't care for. Those games can still exist and not be like not be successful. Because the thing is, for every bad game that like people don't like, there's a community of people who actually do like it. And by review bombing a game into the dirt to try to get it like pulled down, like to get it sunset as fast as possible, you're robbing that niche community of something they legitimately like. And it's like I don't need a game to get obliterated. I just need a game to be like, if I don't like it, I would prefer the game to be viewed as a failure so that they don't make more of it. But that doesn't mean the game has to be gone.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by burn in hell. Like, as in, it's one thing if it just exists away from you. I don't like this isn't my thing, I didn't buy it, so you've paid with your wallet, and it'll never enter your household, it'll never be booted up on your PS5 or whatever. But, like, these people want it 6 feet under. They want it not just to, like, fail, but also for, like, the developers to feel like they were wrong to even conceive of it. How dare you even try to make this game?
The thing is,
you know, how dare you put your talents to work creating this game? We don't want a part of it.
I feel like you should have to be able to prove your playtime when you're making content about a game, positive or negative. Like,
I think more people should demand that.
I feel like if I'm gonna say what's this game? This is Highguard. If I'm gonna say Highguard is trash, at the top of my video, like before I say a word, I have to show you I've got like 160 hours of playtime and I'm mad. Like, if you feel that way after actually playing the game, at that point, you're justified.
We were turned into a joke from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about $1 million ad placement, which even prominent journalists soon began to state as fact. So apparently that wasn't actually true.
$1 million ad
placement? The rumor was that, like, you know, an ad at the Game Awards cost $1 million, and that they were saying like Jeff Keighley, I guess, gave them this ad spot for free. I don't know the specifics of that, but people were claiming like that it was an industry plant sort of situation. The industry is just trying to force us to like this.
I didn't know we had industry plants in the gaming industry.
People say a lot of things. Within minutes, it was decided this game was dead on arrival, and creators now had free rage bait content for a month. Every one of our videos on social media got downvoted to hell. Comment sections were flooded with copy-paste meme phrases such as Concord 2 and Titanfall 3 died for this. At launch, we received over 14,000 review bombs with users with less than an hour of playtime. Many didn't even finish the required tutorial.
So they started the game just so they could...
Yeah, they started it because it was a free-to-play game. They started it just so that... Because on Steam, you do have to, like, have the game installed to do a review now.
Right.
But they just started it, did less than a tutorial, immediately just review bombed. And now these are people kind of without jobs. And it just really sucks. I actually like the point that he makes about how it's easy for a content creator to say, oh, well, like you guys got flown out to, because like, there were some content creators who were flown out to do like an early Highguard preview. Mm-hmm. And so the negative content creators are like, oh, look, these guys are all going to say nice things because they were flown out to this and they were paid. And so their opinions are compromised, which may or may not be true. But the thing is, what I like that he says here is when negative leaning content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, then you have just as much incentive to lean into disingenuous directions instead.
Yeah, that's very true.
So even if like the company flew me and you out and paid us like $1 bajillion to say nice things, similarly, if there's a content creator who's getting 10 times the views for saying negative things, they'll just lean into that. And sorry, go ahead.
So I do think there is there's actually, like, logically there's something wrong with that argument that if you fly out content creators to try out your game, that they're just going to say nice things about your game because you paid them. Oftentimes, because we've been flown out to try things before, to see things for the first time.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes we're paid, sometimes we're not. Sometimes it's just the flight itself. But what I find, I oftentimes find myself softening on whatever the product is being shown to me in those situations. And I can promise you it's not because of the money, because oftentimes there really wasn't any. It was actually putting a human face to the product.
Yep.
Because it's easy to forget that these games, these ideas, these properties are actually just made by real people. And sometimes that's actually all it takes for you to look at a game with a new perspective. You meet the person behind it, and all of a sudden, even if you're still kind of iffy on the game, it's like I kind of want to root for
you want to root for their success. That's why I think that's where like a lot of my empathy, I guess, for it comes from. Is just like there are people working on this stuff, and like all those people from 2XKO, like they got laid off. All these people from Highguard, they got laid off. The entire studio that made Concord was closed. And, maybe the conception of these games isn't perfect. Maybe they had a bad read on what a lot of gamers want out of a certain genre. But, like, man, do they deserve to lose their job and just, like, all the hard work? Because there are people who designed characters and did artwork. And, like, some of these games, like, the servers are down. The thing is, and I hate this because I've seen it firsthand, we know, negative titles get more views than positive titles on YouTube. Like, we A/B test pretty much. I A/B test like every video we do now.
Right.
And I do 3 different titles. And one's kind of like a straightforward, like, here's what the video is. We're dueling with these decks, or we're just talking about this thing. It's a history of whatever. One will be like a more, kind of like a quirky, weird title that's just...
whoa, what's happening here?
Kind of something intriguing or whatever. And then one will be the negative title, where it's just like, here's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Destroyed itself and lost all of the things that made it special.
This game is going downhill.
Yeah, everything's going downhill, and here's what went wrong. And people, universally, those videos just always do better. They always do. I see the professor, Tolarian Community College, he talks about this actually a lot on Twitter, about how, like, he'll do end-of-year wrap-ups. Best parts of Magic the Gathering for this year. Gets, like, half the views of worst things to happen in Magic. Why do you think that is? Like, the
idea of watching or consuming a piece of negative media, I think there's this nature of it being more enriching because you're expecting a critical perspective. And so that, because to criticize means you get to kind of dive into something kind of in a deep manner. But I think when you, as conversely to positive media, it might feel like, well, this won't be as engaging. They're just gonna say nice things about it, and we're all gonna.
I think people want the validation. Like when you're angry, you want someone to repeat your anger back to you.
But sometimes you want to watch negative content, even if it's something you're not.
I think there's just something about criticism that is, it's compelling in some way. Some people feel like it's more real, right? Like, if you're saying good things, like you must be, like they say here, like getting paid, or like there must be some, like you're being fake and toxic positivity or whatever. Whereas like if you're being negative, it must mean that you're being honest. That's not necessarily the case, but like negative reads as this is the real look at this, and like here's the real thing that's kind of gone wrong here.
I guess the biggest shame about this kind of culture that we have of forcibly trying to ruin games is these games don't, even if let's say these games are as bad as we think they are, we rob them of the opportunity to actually like rise above and fix themselves.
Yeah.
The like Concord, another hero shooter, right? I wasn't jazzed by it, but like, what if Concord could have changed its very nature over the course of years to becoming maybe more of a like RPG like experience? Like, maybe it's too late for me, but
someone else could.
It never got to even attempt to go there, and it seems like people are actively interested in making sure Highguard never evolves either.
And it's always weird, and this is the last thing I'll say about this, and I get hot and bothered over these topics, but when it's all said and done and the dust settles, what do you have to show for it? It's just one less game. You know what I mean? Like, I think that if Highguard fails, Concord fails, 2XKO fails, this new game Marathon or whatever fails, I know that in people's heads, because they've consumed maybe so much negative content around them, you begin to equate it with, if Highguard fails, then there will be this alternate timeline where Titanfall 3 will exist, and it'll be good, and I'll be happy. Or like, if I can get Concord to fail, if I can get whatever game, like insert any game here, if I can just get it to fail, and like, then somehow the world will reverse itself, and I'll get the sequel to the series I like, and it'll have been good, and like whatever. But no, you don't actually like it. The world doesn't work like that, where just snapping one away magically gives you the thing that make you happy. It's just more like, well, no, that game just failed. People lost their jobs, and you know what else will probably happen? Companies I think that they see that, and they're like, man, we'll take even less risks now.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought this game was like uninspired, the next one, my God. But it goes into that mob mentality that people have historically always had. It's just a shame that like gamers tend to think that they're kind of above the like pettiness of like non-gamers. Sure. But these actions, that's just mob mentality and mob rule. You're letting oftentimes a content creator whip you up into an angry mob, and then you're trying to destroy like a game. And it's just like,
to whose benefit?
All you had to do if you didn't like this game was not play it.
Was ignore it. Yeah. It's like, it's to whose benefit? The content creator, I guess, will make some more money off your anger.
And that's what it all comes down to. There's someone who's interested in making a profit off your anger, and like, you got nothing for review bombing this game, but if some content creators getting a check from YouTube.
Yeah, and I think a good note to end this one on is that doesn't just apply to video games. There are many pieces of content on the internet that are benefited by you being angry.
That's true.
That's across life, All right, well, here's the last story for us. Alec, did you know death isn't the end? When you die, you don't have to leave.
I'm not that religious. Like, I'm not atheist, but like, I'm not,
Meta patented an AI that lets you keep posting from the grave.
Now I'm angry.
So, yeah.
I want a review bomb.
Yeah, okay, let's review bomb Meta. Meta was granted a patent that would use AI to train a bot to keep your post-mortem accounts live. So, yeah, the company was granted a patent in late December that outlines a large language model that can simulate a person's social media activity, such as responding to content posted by real people. When the user is absent from the social network platform, such as when they take a long break or if the user is deceased, the patent says. So,
why in the hell would the lack of humanity with even developing something like this is incredible to me. What? I know it's not illegal to do, which is why I guess the patent went through and everything, but like, the fact that someone had the idea and then multiple people all said, yeah, there's real merit to that. Greenlit it, sent it to a patents office, and it's just... Yo, this is some sick shit.
I'm almost more angry at the patent office for approving this.
Well, no, at that point, it's gone wrong so many times. You can't just blame them. I mean,
yeah, I mean, no, trust me, I blame Meta. These people are evil.
To me, makes Meta sound like the least human organization I've ever heard of.
I mean, I guess some would argue it
because
is. This is insane to me because there's like where do you start with this?
There's a lot of different angles you can attack this at, and every couple of seconds I think of a different angle.
I'll start with this. I truly think that this world's fucked up enough that like if you die, you could argue that maybe you're actually getting somewhere better. Like, I'm not talking about like heaven or I'm saying like literally things are so crazy that it's almost like, man, let people get out of it. Like it's so crazy the thought that like, okay, you died and we're still going to puppeteer your social media. For what? Because here's the thing, Alec, you're dead now. You don't even get a say in if your social media is subject to this or not. What are they going to post? And here's the thing, it's going to, I guess, so let's dial things back. I know this podcast I've gotten so hot and bothered over these topics today, but I guess what the idea is they're going to read all your previous statuses, look at all your pictures, learn what Alec would or wouldn't say. They'll probably even study like your DMs and stuff because you're dead, so what do they care, right?
Yeah, privacy.
They'll you know, everything like that. And then I guess it will just. Here's my next question. It's like, you know, what is it going to be like posting? Like
what if I was thirst trapping my whole time on social media, and then like I died, and like let's say I die in like 50 years, and my grandkids are like, oh look, Grandpa's latest thirst trap just got uploaded.
I mean, here's something
you can see Grandpa's dick print.
You know, something that's really nefarious about this too is like, what if it's like somebody who like is quite young and just active on social media and they die and like no one ever knows that they died because because Meta's goal is for it to appear as though you didn't. Like, is that not creepy? Like,
I thought we were trying to reduce the amount of bots on social media. I thought that was a thing.
Because like, so imagine, you know, like if you lived, like, you know, there are friends that you know from states away and stuff.
Yeah.
That maybe you know from like college or whatever. And, you know, one of them passes away kind of tragically, but it's a fairly private affair. Like their family kind of keeps it private, so you don't immediately know that they passed away from any number of things. It wasn't like a terminal illness, it was like a car accident. So it's kind of sudden. And you're used to seeing their posts on social media, you know, a couple times a week or whatever. And there's something really just duplicitous about making that account appear to just continue posting as normal. And then let's say you finally find out that person died, you know, a month later or something, and you're like, what? So they've been posting on Facebook or whatever for the last few weeks. Like I've seen them. I've seen them replying to people's things because they say here it will reply to other people in your name, and you know, like, is that not like just? That's evil. That's evil.
I don't even like it when people like will turn like a deceased person's Facebook into this like memorial thing. Delete that thing.
Yeah, I think like
y'all, if somebody you know and love dies, delete their Facebook. Don't turn into memorial. Don't post on their. Don't like post on or through their Facebook still, because
I don't
like that shit.
It's just that's terrifying to me. And the thing is, I think that their reason for doing this, because I was trying to think of like, what's the motivation? Obviously, it's a company, so like money somewhere money's at the end of the line somewhere.
I've got a pretty good idea.
What are you thinking?
I think the fact they know that like Facebook and like doesn't track that well with the younger generations.
Daily active user numbers. They have an
aging population of Facebook users. They are going to start dying, so you can.
Daily active users and
keep
plate
your
that
numbers
number
up by just.
I also was thinking too that I mean it just what was I going to say about it? I think that basically they want to make the place appear as being active, but also there are older people who like that. Like you've seen the surge of AI posts on Facebook from like kind of more normie or like older skewing like Gen X kind of age people and up, where they like to share those AI posts where it's like Jesus with 6 fingers and whatever, like, or just some other weird thing. And they really believe that. Like, I mean, I hate to say it. Sorry, mom. Like, my mom, she'll see these like AI posts and she'll kind of be amused by like, oh, like the animals that are talking or something. It looks cute. But this is effectively like necromancy to me. Like because
it's not right.
There are family members where like, you know, like older family members die and then you'll see like your parents want like a cute gift card that uses AI to like reanimate, you know, your grandmother as she
let that lady rest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the world's fucked up. Like, you've made it, you know, 80, 90, 100 years on this planet. Let people like rest in peace. Like, why meta do you need to like recreate their likeness and like have it be posting? It's like, to whose benefit?
I'm honestly so disturbed. I'm gonna make sure my Facebook is gone before I pass. You ain't about to like puppeteer my account in my name.
I mean, yeah. So I think it's
so
terrifying,
disgusting.
And I think that's a good place to end it
I
for
am
this week.
sick to my stomach.
Yeah, this was a fun podcast episode because I feel like it's been a while since I've gotten a little hot under the collar in one of these podcasts. Because like I think that, you know, the gaming thing is obviously an annoying thing that like people are doing today, and I have strong feelings. But AI taking your likeness after you die and with the intention of just making it seem like it's business as usual. Wild. That was this week's episode of the Pot of Greed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure that you catch us next week. It's every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. All the rest. Any other last words?
I'm sick to my stomach.
A lot, yeah. All right, have a great week. We'll see you all in the next one. Pass turn.